Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. Nice to see everyone this evening live with us here at Walk-Ons. I'm Rob Blackman, and this is indeed Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. We appreciate you joining us on a Tuesday. I know this week, again, we had to move the schedule around a little bit with a Tuesday night program. Normally we're here on Mondays, but with our Boilermakers playing men's basketball last night at home against Yale, we had to make the slight adjustment and do this thing on a Tuesday. So thanks for making a slight adjustment to your schedule as well. We're going to talk a lot of Purdue men's basketball tonight. Tonight will be men's basketball heavy. We'll talk a little women's hoops, but mostly men's basketball tonight. Since we have last spoken last Tuesday night, Purdue has picked up 2 more wins in men's hoops. The 72-50 win over Northern Kentucky on Friday night at Mackey Arena. And then Purdue winning last night 92-84 against Yale at Mackey. So Purdue improves to 3-0 on this young season, but looks ahead to a very, very difficult challenge this coming Friday night when the second-ranked team in the country, the Alabama Crimson Tide, come calling for a 7 o'clock tip-off. So we're going to talk a lot of men's hoops tonight, and joining me on the show in just a bit to do that is assistant coach Brandon Brantley. He will be my special guest this evening on the program. We do thank you, as always, for joining us. If you're on the X page or Twitter page or the YouTube page, Facebook page. Oh, wait, I said X and Twitter, didn't I? I said them both. I think they're all combined now as one. If you're listening on the Varsity Network app, or if you maybe are just listening on the old-fashioned way, the radio, however you found us tonight, we say thank you, and we appreciate the fact you want to talk some Purdue basketball with us here tonight at Walk-Ons here in the Purdue Memorial Union. Yes, yes. Outstanding hosts. They always are. With that, we will take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to Coach Brandon Brantley. This is the Purdue Basketball Live Show. It's presented by GEMCO. It's on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Here's Trey Kaufman-Wren finds the open man, Jakari Harris with the three. Here's Braden Smith looking for a three. He'll find it at the top of the key. Kaufman-Wren drop off to Berg. Berg with the finish. Smith with the three.
It's kind of cleared a bit. Now, you could easily throw Cam Heide in there, and Purdue now also with the opportunity to go small and play Kaufman-Wren at the 5.
So now here's Simmons, poke free. Smith with the steal. And Smith to the other end for the easy 2. Smith. Oh, hard bounce. Kaufman-Wren slithers to the rim. Braden Smith. Quick push ahead to Lawyer. 3 seconds. Lawyer gets a good look at 3 minutes. And one away to end the half for the Boilermakers. The 3 from Lawyer makes it 45-34. Ending the half with a flourish. The 3 at the top of the key. Our state funds are just taking it to the rim. Combination of Townsend and Alaton is going to be an interesting combo in the Ivy this year as Kaufman-Wren gets out of the lane. Alaton right there. Kaufman-Wren stays with it. Pivots it back out to Colvin. His 3 will fall. Shot clock for Braden Smith. Around the Kaufman-Wren screen. He'll feed it to his big down low. Working against Townsend inside. He dislodged him and he gets the 2.
He can make them, but you just feel like you can get better looks than that if you're Yale right now.
Here's C.J. Cox. A good look at the rim and a chance for one more.
He came off that ball screen and just no one impacted.
Able to save it in play as Mbang. Mbang going with a Euro step against Smith. Can't get it to go. Mbang from the seat of his pants. Throws it to Braden Smith. Leaking out to Colvin. One-hand hammer. Half, and everybody's still celebrating the dunk.
Well, from the seat of his pants, Mbang starts the break, and Miles Colvin has had himself a ball game tonight. I love the fact that he hasn't necessarily played through his jumper. Yeah, he's got 8 points, but he's also got 4 rebounds. He's chased Poulikitis, and how about the emphatic slam to finish this one off?
Welcome back. It's Purdue Basketball Live. It's presented by GEMCO. GEMCO Constructors, supporting your Boilermakers, is the presenting sponsor of Purdue Basketball Live. Proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors says boiler up. Tonight we are at Walk-Ons, as we always are when we're talking Purdue basketball. Remember, here at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, there is validated parking, and kids eat free on Tuesdays. And here we are on a Tuesday. Rob Blackman alongside assistant coach Brandon Brantley. That's men's basketball assistant coach. I told you a couple times last week. I'll try to reiterate really in the first couple of shows of the season. We've combined our men's and women's basketball radio program this season. as we call it Purdue Basketball Live. Some weeks it's going to be men's basketball heavy. Some weeks it'll be women's basketball heavy. Tonight, talking a lot of men's basketball hoops. And with that, before we go further, quick reminder, we won't have another show on men's for a Purdue Basketball Live here at Walk-Ons until December the 2nd. Our next show is going to be Monday, December the 2nd. That's because next week, Purdue men's basketball traveling on Monday night up to Milwaukee to play Marquette Tuesday. Purdue women's basketball has a home game next Monday night at Mackey Arena. So there'll be no show next week. Then we're into Thanksgiving. So we'll just come back on Monday, December the 2nd. Please make a note of that. With that, let's talk to assistant coach Brandon Brantley as he is my special guest on the program this evening. Coach Brantley, welcome. Let's start with this. 3-0 plus 2 other exhibition games. So 5 games, 1 full hand of games to evaluate our very different-looking basketball team than from what we saw a year ago. Your early impressions of what you've seen from this team so far?
We still got work to do. I don't think any team in the country right now is a finished product, and you definitely don't want to be playing your best basketball by mid-November.
Right.
But I like our guys. I think they're tough, they're intelligent. But as I said before, we have work to do. If you watched our games, there are areas of concern. But I could have said that about last year's team.
Yeah.
And last year's team ended up playing in a national championship game. So obviously the goal is to always get back to that level. So I think I like our pieces, but we have work to do.
Well, we will talk about some of those areas of concern throughout this next 55 minutes or so. We'll also talk about the things we've liked that we've seen so far early in the season. But I think it's most appropriate to start with this topic, and that is the topic of the injury to Daniel Jacobson. Most of our fans, I think, listening tonight know that Coach Brantley is our big man's coach. He coaches the centers. He works with the big guys, and certainly a lot of promise for the 7'4" Daniel Jacobson. That very first game of the season, a real game against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks, and then the unfortunate injury Friday night, the broken leg, suffered just 1 minute into the game against Northern Kentucky. Before we talk about the injury and what it ultimately means, what had you seen from Daniel this summer? I know he wasn't with us the whole time because he played with the FIBA U18s, but once he got to campus, what did you see from him as far as a big man goes, his development, and maybe just where he'll eventually fit in as, I would hope, maybe one of the next great big men here at Purdue?
A lot of upside. In the last 4 years, I think Purdue fans had gotten accustomed to seeing a guy like Zach Edey man the paint for us. And we've had other big guys. Daniel's a little different. A lot of length, a lot of mobility. I think he has the potential to be a really good shot blocker. Has to improve on becoming a more consistent low post scorer, but he has the ability to stretch the floor.
Yeah.
And I think with PJ was going to be very creative with Daniel as far as some sets because Daniel had the ability to stretch the floor. So, obviously the injury hurts. First and foremost for Daniel because you always feel for a young man because that's his dream, to be a basketball player, and all of a sudden, his season is over.
Right.
But like I told him, I said, when you get handed a lemon, you make lemonade.
Yeah.
So I said, he's going to have his surgery. He's going to rehab, but this gives him a chance to get into the weight room. He's got a chance to eat and put on some real weight. But that time in the weight room, the one thing I tell fans is football, high school football players can play that fall semester, and when they're done with high school, they can graduate early, they can go to a college, and they get that whole semester to be able to go into a weight room.
Yeah.
Basketball players don't have that because obviously their season is along the same plane as our season, and so when it's over, they have to finish up high school in that spring semester. And so and then Daniel, when he was done, he went to USA Basketball.
Right,
so
right.
that's valuable time that could have been spent in the weight room. So what do you have? Maybe 2 months in the weight room, and man, you definitely need more than that. And so this gives this kid a real opportunity to get in there and add some strength and muscle.
The one thing that did impress me in the few practices I made it to before the season really got cooking was his ability to shoot the three-point shot. And look, I know he's not going to be a Fletcher Lawyer type three-point shooter, but man, what a weapon. Something we've really never had at Purdue, right? The big guy that could step out and shoot the three consistently.
But the game is evolving, Rob. Years ago, you think about the big guys that we've had at Purdue, A.J. Hammonds, Isaac Haas, even Caleb Swanigan. They were big, strong guys that you could stick in the post and you could throw it down there and get buckets. And now, if you go out on the grassroots circuit, you're starting to see more and more big guys play on the perimeter, and they're comfortable. But it's because they watch the NBA, and if you watch the NBA, a lot of those guys that play the five position, that's what they do. They step out and they shoot. You see it with Zach. Zach got to Memphis, and
right.
He's had to make an adjustment because they wanna keep the lane open for guys like Ja Morant and those other dynamic guards, because the athleticism is so great at that level. They want space, and so you can turn on a Memphis Grizzly game and you'll see Zach in the corner.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Not parked under the bucket. We're so used to seeing him when we were here at Purdue. Good point, Coach Brantley. More with Coach Brandon Brantley when we come back tonight. It's Purdue Basketball Live. It's presented by GEMCO. It's on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Sunday, and so the Boilermakers have so much depth in this team, as we see a nice one from the corner to prove to the Boilermaker faithful why he won't be redshirting this season. That is why. Physical and dominant inside.
From Berg there, beating two guys on the glass to get that rebound.
Boy, it goes up, no foul called. TKR on the end, but maybe an interesting decision maxed by Lawyer in the corner after he's made two from that same position, not to just be
worked hard in practice, and that's why he's not redshirting this year. He's going to get time.
Smith dancing around, puts up the mid-range. 1 second to go. Vincent puts it up. Forced more than anything, but the pressure good from the Boilermakers. Burgess comes back in. Colvin getting in the air like a home set. Historic gold in the Norse in the All Black. Lawyer, lots of space here, and that's how you start the second half.
And that's the exact way you don't want.
On Atijere.
Yeah, good spin move there to get past Robinson, and Atijere had to come in kind of fitting through those tight, narrow windows.
Lawyer takes that one from Smith and takes the 3 points back to the other.
A wide open look as Burgess ended up falling over, but couldn't get it to go.
That's a veteran move there by the freshman. Closed down by the Boilermakers. Smith trying to find some space of his own. Inside to Berg and a sweep.
A couple liberties, knowing that Berg can be susceptible to fouling as well.
Beautiful play there by the Boilermakers. Lawyer, Heidi, and Berg. Kaufman Wren can't hold on to that one. Puts it into Lawyer. He thinks about it. Inside to First, and First. Height dominance over Pettis the second and gets the 2 points. But it's all rim. Cox on the rebound. That's a beautiful pass from Harris. Lawyer goes up, and that place roars. Even Braden Smith had to say, that's a nice one, mate. Up to Lawyer. Finishing it off with finesse as you expect.
We are live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking. Kids eat free on Tuesdays. Rob Blackman here with Purdue men's basketball assistant coach Brandon Brantley. It's part of our Purdue Basketball Live program, presented tonight live from Walk-Ons. Purdue Basketball is brought to you in part by Purdue Federal Credit Union, the official credit union for Purdue fans. All right, Coach Brantley, we talked about Daniel Jacobson in the first segment of the program. We certainly would love to have his services this year, but that's no longer an option. So, Caleb First, Will Berg, Raleigh Burgess, sometimes Trey Kaufman-Wren, depending on what lineup we decide to go with. The onus now falls on them to be the guys that fill the void, right? I think it's fair to say we're not looking for another Zach Edey. Those guys come around once every 50 years. He was the two-time National Player of the Year, the consensus National Player of the Year. Last time that happened, the guy's name was Bill Walton, so literally 50 years ago. So if it's only going to happen once every 50 years, let's not try to pretend we're getting another Zach Edey walking through that door. But the three names I just mentioned, not counting Trey for the moment, what can they bring to the table, and now how can they help solidify that 5 position?
I think if we need a tough group, guys that embrace the physicality, guys that are going to hold that paint down, go get rebounds, guys that are not going to allow easy post feeds. If those guys can do that on a nightly basis, and it's going to be different guys every night, different games, but I think if we can get that consistent effort from those guys, then they'll give us a chance to win ball games.
Well, here's the thing. Friday night, Friday night was obviously the night that Daniel went down with the injury, but Friday night, if you take those final 39 minutes of the game, Will Berg, Caleb First, Raleigh Burgess, I jotted down the numbers. Those three guys, 19 points, 14 rebounds. They had 6 turnovers, but 19 and 14. Last night against Yale, same three guys, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 turnovers. Easy question here. We'd much rather have the Northern Kentucky version of those bigs than we had last night, right? I mean, it's tough to win if you're only getting 4 points from the center position.
It is, and it's every game is different. I don't think we did a great job with dribble containment and keeping the ball out of the paint.
Yeah.
And so if we do a better job of keeping the ball out of the paint, I think it gives those guys a better chance at doing their job. But when you always in help, that's going to be really hard, So it's kind of twofold. Guys on the perimeter got to concentrate better, keep that ball in front, concentrated effort. We got to sprint back in transition, and I think we got to do a better job communicating collectively. It's one of the things Coach Payne has been on these guys with. It went from, we got to talk, and he was like, no, scratch that. We're not talking. You guys got to yell.
Yeah.
And if you ever get a chance to come watch practice, he'll make us be quiet because he wants those guys to be accustomed to talking more with each other.
Yeah.
So I think if we can do that, and the bigs will continue to grow, we'll give ourselves a chance.
On the topic of the 3 bigs, let's start with Will Berg. In your opinion, because you're with these guys every day, Will Berg's number 1 asset is what?
I think he's got to give us a presence. He's got great size.
Yeah.
And I've told him this in the summer. I said, man, you got a chance to go against Zach Edey for 2 years.
Right.
And you got to, you won't see another guy that good. I promise you.
Yes.
You pick that schedule up.
Right.
You
Not another 50 years.
Yes, man. If you do, let me know. But I don't think you're going to play against a guy that good.
Yeah.
And so you have to make that work for yourself. I remember, and I came up, Glenn Robinson and I were in the same class, and we would always open our season. We would play Gary Roosevelt. But then, we came into Purdue, and I redshirted my second season, which was his first season. And then it was different because I had to guard him every day in practice. And I'm just like, my goodness, when is this thing going to be over? But, at the end of that season, I was just like, I don't think I'm going to guard anybody this good, ever, So I took that confidence with me because I was just like, well, I know this guy's not as good as Glenn, so I got a chance.
Yeah,
and so that's the mentality that Will Berg has to have. And he's shown flashes. He's a young guy. He hasn't played a whole lot, and sometimes, man, you make those improvements by playing. So he's a hard-working kid. He watches a bunch of film. He works. I have full confidence in Will.
All right, same question for Caleb First, the lone senior on this team. The number 1 asset that he brings to this team.
Experience.
Yeah.
You think about, Caleb's experience as a Purdue Boilermaker. He's never lost a non-conference game.
Right.
He's been around some really good players. I think his experience has to come through for us. He's a guy with tremendous physical ability. He can guard multiple positions along the front line. So I think experience and toughness, if he can give us that, he gives Purdue a chance to win ball games.
And he has played a lot of basketball, so I think some fans might forget his freshman year, he was freshman of the week 1 week in the Big Ten. I mean, so he's been there, done that. All right, same question then and then we'll take a break here. Raleigh Burgess, the true freshman from Cincinnati. the number one asset right now. Now, I know he can improve, obviously, as the years will go along here, but what does he bring right now that would be his number one asset to this team at that 5 position?
I think he has size and mobility.
Yeah.
You know, if you watched him in high school, he was a guy that, and he's got a motor, you know, but he had a horrific leg injury his junior year. And sometimes it takes a little while, you know.
Yeah.
You know, he's definitely not at 100%, probably ain't in his mind of where he should be. And so now you're competing at a higher level. You're trying to learn everything from plays, defensive schemes, terminology, I mean, just everything. But the one thing he does is, like, he shows up every day with a great attitude. He works hard, and he wants to be better. And so getting a chance to go against these guys in practice, he's definitely improved, and I expect him to keep making those improvement as the season goes on.
Well, Coach Brantley's referencing there that broken leg. It was a broken leg for Riley Burgess. He missed the first half of his senior season of high school, finally got healthy, and was able to play in the back half of that senior season in high school. And there are a lot of colleges that actually backed off of him, that were recruiting him heavily until the injury. Luckily, Purdue did not back off. We still kept the full court press on, for lack of a better term, and Riley Burgess is now playing at Purdue, and I think we're a little bit better for it. I will take a break. More with Coach Brantley when we come back. 2-minute break, and we'll be back with more. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
6 Indiana leads here in set 1. And on the overpass, Lord in the Big Ten, Indiana trying to work on that. Avery Tatum near post, and Eva Hudson, the solo. Candela sends it over. Gary to Tatum, blocked! 2 points away from a set 1 victory. Anderson sends it over, Geddes digs it out. On the near post, Tatum blocked. Gary with a lunge, keeps it up. Tatum tries again, and Anderson keeps it in. Hudson with a running start as a dig from Hayworth goes a bit wild, and a free ball coming for Purdue. Hudson with authority goes to the, as Hornung will serve for Purdue, targets Vickers. Hayworth, Alonzo Corsellis, Indiana retains. Vickers again, blocked by Colvin. 21, then Purdue went on the 4-0 run. Hudson, 12-10, Indiana leads. Raven Colvin again.
Chicoine plays that one. Anderson to Colvin off the slide. Boilers keep it alive. And Raven Colvin.
That one right down.
Eva Hudson finishing off the Wolverines here in set number 2. The Boilers win 25-21. Taking control of set number 3. Let's see if the Boilers can adjust the defense. Ball hit over. Set for Hudson. Eva Hudson with the exclamation point on this Boilers 3-0 sweep. They win set number 3, 25-18.
Yeah, and a 4-0 scoring run to end that last set by Purdue.
7-6 in.
Welcome back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO, live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking. Kids eat free on Tuesdays. I'm Rob Blackman, Boilermaker assistant coach Brandon Brantley, my guest on the program tonight. Purdue Athletics would like to thank and recognize members of the Black and Gold Club who support Purdue Athletics through their sponsorship at the highest level. Black and Gold Club members include Indiana Packers, Molson Coors, Purdue Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, Riley Children's Health, State Farm Insurance, Toyota, and Wabash, each great partners of Purdue Athletics, and we thank them for their sponsorship. All right, one more question about X's and O's and personnel at the center position, Coach Brantley, and then we'll move on. Trey Kaufman-Wren playing at the 5 position. He was lobbying very hard last night in the post-game press conference, have you heard, by the way, to play a little bit more 5. Ultimately, on the offensive end, and we'll talk defense in a minute, but on the offensive end, how does that make Purdue better? I guess that's probably the right phrase. If Trey's at the 5, how does that make Purdue better?
I don't know if I want to use better or worse.
Sure.
I could say different.
Yeah.
Because think offensively, the ball would move. You're talking about ultimate skill, ball handling. But the one thing you run into is, like, you got to be a dude in that paint at the 5. We're going, we're starting to get to the meat of the schedule, and we're going to play some teams with ultimate size.
Right.
And so, the one thing about it is, it's not football. You just play offense, and we take you out on the other end. You got to be able to go down there.
Yeah.
And keep the ball out of the paint and keep guys off the glass. Because it's just going to be hard to just have a mentality where you just want to outscore everybody. You got to play a little bit of defense.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing about playing a small lineup.
Right. Well, you're right. That's what we've seen so far. I mean, Yale had a player last night who was 6'10", but that's the tallest player we have seen to this point as far as a regular in the low post. That will not be the case Friday night. Alabama will, if they start like they've started their first 3 games of the year, will go 6'11", 6'11", 6'10" across the front line. A little bit different than what we've seen the first 3 games.
A lot different.
Defensively, that's the concern, right? And that's not a knock on Trey. These are the facts. If you play the small lineup against the bigger ball clubs, that's where the bigger concern is. Yes, can you flip it on them on the offensive end? Great. If not, you're in a real pickle.
Yeah, Alabama has been one of the better teams, offensive teams in college basketball the last few years. Just like us, but. As you said before, tremendous size. And then they bring size in off the bench, size with athleticism.
Yeah.
So last night, I talked about it earlier. We didn't do a good job of keeping the ball out of the paint. Like, now you got some hard charging pit bulls coming, and that's what they want to do. They want to get to the paint with that size.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we will talk about that on the other side of the break, because I do want to ask you, it's not just all softball questions, Coach Brantley. We have to ask the tough ones. And I'll be asking about those 50 points in the paint last night on the other side of this commercial break. So you'll have 2 minutes if you want to hit the road and not stick around for the question. But it's coming when we come back. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. This is the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Miller just checked in for Grady Eifert. Now Carson Edwards fires from 3, and the Boilers have back-to-back 3-pointers. Leading scorer from Fairfield as Carson Edwards hits another one. Going through Carson Edwards, and why not? He pulls up here, and a little kiss off the glass, Hunter. What a bucket from C. Boogie. Instead, he sets the offense.
We've seen that all night, this stacked defense, as Carson Edwards pulls up.
Now Carson Edwards, this is his game. There's some fast break points for you, Hunter. Carson Edwards is feeling it tonight. Leaves it for Grady Eifert. Now back to Carson, and he'll pull. And he got fouled, and count it. This kid is unconscious right now. The board, and now Carson Edwards pushing. And he's going to fire and nail it. Out of body is Carson Edwards right now, 25. Looking, and Carson Edwards firing, and you know it. Carson Edwards, he's got 30.
The rebound and handing it off to Rashunda Jones, a leader in that exceptional freshman class. As Lombard brings that one in, sends it to Bass. We mentioned it already, 648 days. But nice for the Boilermakers.
A tough break there as the Macedons got stuck under the basket.
And just like that, and one. Again, so glad to have you join us here on Big Ten Plus as we open the 24-25 season. Lord Craig, Purdue Fort Wayne's determination to get inside the paint as we see Bass at the arc. You see her being dominant in the paint though there. Lombard, really nice pass to Jayla Smith in the corner, and the Boilermakers answer. And Lombard, really nice job breaking it inside of McCall.
Welcome back, everyone. Live tonight from Walk-Ons. It is Purdue Basketball Live. Appreciate you joining us here on a Tuesday night. Quick reminder, the next time you will hear Purdue Basketball Live on the radio will be Monday, December the 2nd as we'll have a couple of weeks off here because of some game and travel conflicts with both men's and women's basketball. Time now for the Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. I know technically he's not a Boilermaker, at least as far as a graduate, or having even played here. But I thought it was pretty cool that our biggest fan, who is a non-Boiler, Kevin Kiermaier, won the World Series with the LA Dodgers just a couple of weeks ago. I thought that was pretty awesome. For those that don't know the story, Kevin Kiermaier from Fort Wayne had signed with Purdue, was going to play baseball here at Purdue after a couple of years of junior college baseball, was going to come here and be a part of the team starting in 2010, but he was drafted that year in the 31st round. Now think about this. Could have come to Purdue, takes a chance, bets on himself in the 31st round. They don't even have 31 rounds of the Major League Baseball amateur draft anymore. Not the third round, not the first round, 31st round. He just said, you know what, I'm going to try it. I'm going to make a go at it. And so what happens? He plays 11 Major League seasons, 4-time Gold Glove winner. He was with Toronto for the last couple of years, but right at the end of the season this season, got traded to the Dodgers, and wouldn't you know it, after he'd already announced he was going to retire, he finally won a World Series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think that's pretty cool. So Kevin Kiermaier, he gets to be our Pro Boiler tonight. And again, a lot of folks probably know this, but while he did not actually attend Purdue, he is our biggest fan. I mean, he just randomly shows up at football or basketball games here or there. He's always posting pro Purdue stuff on social media. Now that he's retired, I guess he can come to more games, by the way, Coach Brantley. But just thought I want to throw that in tonight for Kevin Kiermaier. What a way to go out in retirement, a world champion, winning that the World Series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. All right, time for the tough question here, Coach Brantley. And you know the numbers, but so the listeners know. Last night against Yale, 50 points in the paint allowed to the opposition. Game 1 against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 46 points allowed in the paint. Now the Northern Kentucky game, not as bad, only 18 points in the paint for the Norse, but you know that is unacceptable, that many points in the paint. What does this team have to do to be better in that aspect of the game?
I think we got to buckle down and concentrate. You know, it's sometimes when you watch basketball, you really want to get deep into the schematic, and when you take a step back, it's just the fundamentals of the game. It's keeping your man in front, you know, playing defense without fouling, having the correct defensive influence, you know, talking, active hands, post defense, boxing out when shots go up, sprinting back on defense, and keeping the ball out of the paint. So it's nothing too complicated. That's exactly what it is. You know, we've just got to become better as a team.
Last couple of years, it's safe to say there may have been a bit of a safety net, knowing that Zach Edey was always back there protecting the rim. So if you maybe weren't quite on your P's and Q's defensively on the perimeter and your man beat you to the paint, I got Big Z back there to help. Not the case this year, right? I mean, obviously.
There was an old story. I heard this story years ago. It was a guy that was kind of struggling in life, and so he had one night he sleep, and you know, he has a dream, kind of dreaming about his life, and how he was struggling, and so he wakes up and he prays to God. He said, God, here I am. I'm down here struggling, and I was dreaming last night. I was looking at my life, and I was on the beach, and you said that you were gonna carry me, and all I saw was one set of footprints, and God said, you are correct, but those were my footprints. I was carrying you. And that's what Zach Edey was our program.
He was the footprints in the sand parable.
He was. I mean, he was that dominant. You know, we could go into a game and you never worried about being out rebounded.
Yes,
he was
never.
You know, it was the phenomenal thing about him was like he was a great rebounder. But big guys normally don't rebound outside of their area. And, like he would really pursue the basketball. he was tough. You know, not a lot of guys could really go at him and score. So you didn't worry about rebounding. You didn't really worry about post defense. You knew on the other end it was going to be a bucket, you know, if you threw it down to him.
Right.
But, you know, it was just that presence and, you know, protection. You know,
Yeah.
I remember when I was young and I would go places with my dad, and I didn't have any fear because I knew, like, I was with this man, and that's what our team was with Zach Edey.
Yeah.
He was a soft-spoken guy, but, you know, in practice, man, he demanded those guys do things right. He was a force in our locker room, and now that's gone. But that's a part of sports.
Yep.
Guys are not always around, and so, you know, when those guys leave, now it's up to the coaches, it's up to the players to, like, figure out, you know, how we're going to mold and shape this team. You know, who's going to step up and assume the role of leadership. You know, it's not given, it's earned. You know, and it's not earned through stats. You know, it's earned by showing up in practice every day, doing things the right way. Somebody being the voice of Coach Painter in the locker room. Somebody that's going to hold teammates accountable. Somebody that's going to demand the best day in and day out. And that's what Zach was.
Well said, Coach Brantley. Well said. Before we go further, we're just after a couple minutes past the top of the hour, so we'll need to pause 10 seconds for legal identification. So let's do this. We'll pause 10 seconds for station ID. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're back.
This is Purdue Basketball Live tonight from walk-ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. Lafayette Limo, family-owned, women-owned, and serving Greater Lafayette for over 38 years. Shuttles to and from Indianapolis and O'Hare airports 365 days a year. Make your reservations now at LafayetteLimo.com. Lafayette Limo, proud sponsor of Purdue Athletics. We'll take a break. More with Coach Brantley when we return. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. On the Purdue Global Sports Network, this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Here's Trey Kaufman-Renn, finds the open man, Jakari Harris with the three. Here's Braden Smith looking for a three. He'll find it at the top of the key. Kaufman-Renn, drop off to Berg. Berg with the fifth. Smith with the three.
It's kind of cleared a bit. Now, you could easily throw Cam Heide in there, and Purdue now also with the opportunity to go small and play Kaufman-Renn at the 5.
So now here's Simmons, poke free, Smith with the steal, and Smith to the other end for the easy two. Smith, hard bounce, Kaufman-Renn slithers to the rim. Braden Smith, quick push ahead to Lawyer. 3 seconds, Lawyer gets a good look at three. Hits, and what a way to end the half. For the Boilermakers, the three from Lawyer makes it 45-34. Ending the half with a flourish. The three at the top of the key. Our state funds just taking it to the rim. The combination of Townsend and Alaton is going to be an interesting combo in the Ivy this year as Kaufman-Renn gets out of the way. Alaton right there. Kaufman-Renn stays with it. Pivots it back out to Colvin. His three will fall. Shot clock for Braden Smith. Around the Kaufman-Renn screen. He'll feed it to his big down low. Working against Townsend inside. He dislodged him and it gets the two.
He can make them, but you just feel like you can get better looks than that if you're Yale right now.
Here's C.J. Cox. A good look at the rim and a chance for one more.
He came off that ball screen and just no one impacted.
Able to save it in play is Mbang. Mbang going with a Euro step against Smith. Can't get it to go. Mbang from the seat of his pants. Throws it to Braden Smith. Leaking out to Colvin. One-hand hammer. Half, and everybody's still celebrating the dunk.
Well, from the seat of his pants, Mbang starts the break, and Miles Colvin has had himself a ball game tonight. I love the fact that he hasn't necessarily played through his jumper. Yeah, he's got 8 points, but he's also got 4 rebounds. He's chased Poulikitis.
Welcome back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO, live at walk-ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat free on Tuesdays. Rob Blackman here with Boilermaker men's basketball assistant coach Brandon Brantley joining me. A couple of quick notes on Purdue women's basketball. Boilermakers suffered their first loss of the season Sunday night losing to Notre Dame at Mackey Arena. Final score 102-58. Purdue now 1-1 on the season. Destiny Lombard continues to play well early in the season. Destiny had 13 points for Purdue in that game. Purdue back in action Thursday night at Mackey. Fans will see at Mackey Thursday, 7 o'clock, when Purdue plays IU Indy. The school formerly known as IUPUI, now IU Indy. Purdue will be playing them 7 o'clock Thursday night. And then Monday night, Mackey Arena, Bellarmine is in town for a 7 o'clock tip. So a couple of home games coming up for the Purdue women. Thursday night, 7 o'clock, and then Monday night, 7 o'clock as well for Katie Gerald's and our Boilermakers. Coach Brantley, as we continue our conversation here about Purdue hoops, the one thing I tell you, and I'm not surprised by this, just looking at our ball club coming into the year, I thought this would be the case. But offensively, we've been pretty darn efficient. Have shot it well, better than 40% from three in all three of the games so far this year. Have shared the ball well. Turnovers, yes, have been a concern at times. 10 last night was Purdue's lowest of the season. But offensively, it strikes me that, man, this team has a lot of different ways to come at you. Am I seeing it correctly? It just feels like we have a whole lot of different weapons out there.
For sure. We've, thank you, Rob. We've, you know, it starts with Braden. We've got maybe the best point guard in the country. You know, he can kill you. Off the bounce, he can shoot. He can kill you with the pass.
Yeah.
Guy like Fletcher Lawyer, incredibly intelligent ball player, can make shots, knows how to make the right plays. Got guys like Cam Heidi, Miles Colvin, even our two freshman guards, like those guys can make shots. And some of those bigs can make, they just haven't had the opportunity.
Yeah.
But you know, with the time that we put into it, into those guys, learning the terminology, all of our plays. A lot of time goes in it, so we do have some weapons. We can score the basketball, but I know we spent a good deal of the show talking about the defensive end, and that's where the improvement has to come.
Well, in 2 of the 3 wins so far, Purdue's been at 90 points or better in 2 of the 3 wins, so that you're going to win a lot of games scoring in the 90s. Purdue's shooting 43% from 3, and I know it's a small sample size. It's only 3 games. But 43% from 3 as a team. Remember, fans, last year Purdue was second in the country three-point shooting, and that was 40.6. 40.6 was good enough last year for second best in the country. Right now, Purdue's at 43% from 3. Fletcher Lawyer, 75% from 3 to start the season. I mean, it's unbelievable. 9 of 12. And you know what I liked about Fletcher? And I'd like to get your opinion on this. He was red hot in the first half last night. Yale made some really good adjustments defensively to not let him get open looks in the second half. And Fletcher played like a veteran player last night in that he didn't force anything in the second half, right? He took very few shots. He instead was more of a facilitator because he understood that that's how they were going to guard him in the second half, and he could help the team in other ways. I don't know if he'd have made that decision last year or the year before. It just seems like he's such a much more mature player.
That's the growth, you know. And he's always, I said it before, he's always been a very intelligent player. But when you see guys do that, because it's like me, myself, if that was me as a player, I'm trying to find a way to put that ball up.
Still get some shots up, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just, you know, growth and maturity.
Right.
You know, for him to recognize, you know, what Yale was trying to do, and he said, okay, well, I can't get my shot, but I'll get the ball out of my hands, and I'll make sure the ball moves. So I was really impressed by that.
Yeah, me too. Braden Smith last night, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals. I'll say that again, 22, 9, 6, and 5. First Big Ten player in 20 years to put up those kind of numbers. Remember those numbers, by the way, because it's part of my nugget coming up at the end of the show. I mean, this guy is killing it right now with his decision-making. I know the turnovers have been a little bothersome, a couple he'd like to have back, but you said he might be the best point guard in the country. I'd have a tough time finding anyone that's been better, at least through the first 3 games of the season.
He loves it. I mean, if you see the work that he puts in the offseason, he's another guy that shows up like every day ready to work. It's the one thing that gets a lot of guys at our level, especially young guys coming in, because they have no idea how challenging the practices are at this level. And I think he shows up every day just ready to go to work, ready to make himself better and to make our team better. But I swear he's got like a little battery in his back, like the Energizer Bunny, man. He keeps going and going. And so like what he does, you know, to not be a very tall guy and to go get those rebounds, man, has just been huge.
And what Jakari Harris and C.J. Cox have brought to you, I mean, they're not playing like true freshman guards, at least not in the Big Ten, I don't think. My goodness, C.J. was outstanding offensively last night. And C.J. not only can handle the ball late in the game in a tight game, he can make free throws.
Yes, he can.
I mean, what a luxury that is. But Jakari's toughness, I mean, boy, those two guys, I got to tell you. I'm going to hold that thought because I want to ask you something when we come on the other side of break. So be ready now. It's going to be a good one, I promise you. Unlike my other questions tonight, this is going to be a good one. So hold on for that one. More with Coach Brantley when we come back on Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. On the Purdue Global Sports Network, this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Sunday, and so the Boilermakers have so much depth in this team. As we see a nice one from the corner to prove to the Boilermaker faithful why he won't be redshirting this season. That is why. Physical and dominant inside.
From Berg there, beating two guys on the glass to get that rebound.
Boy, goes up, no foul called. TKR on the end, but maybe an interesting decision, Max, by Lawyer in the corner after he's made two from that same position, not to just be
worked hard in practice, and that's why he's not redshirting this year. He's going to get time.
Smith dancing around, puts up the mid-range. 1 second to go. Vincent puts it up. Forced more than anything. But the pressure good from the Boilermakers. Burgess comes back in. Colvin getting in the air like a home set. Historic gold in the Norse in the all-black. Lawyer, lots of space here, and that's how you start the second half.
And that's the exact way you don't want.
On Atijere.
Yeah, good spin move there to get past Robinson, and Atijere had to come in kind of fitting through those tight, narrow windows.
Lawyer takes that one from Smith and takes the 3 points back to the other.
A wide open look as Burgess ended up falling over, but couldn't get it to go.
That's a veteran move there by the freshman. Closed down by the Boilermakers. Smith trying to find some space of his own. Inside to Berg and a sweep.
A couple liberties, knowing that, you know, Berg can be susceptible to fouling as well.
Beautiful play there by the Boilermakers. Lawyer, Heidi, and Berg. Kaufman Wren can't hold on to that one. Puts it into Lawyer. He thinks about it. Inside to First. Height dominance of Pettis the second and gets the 2 points. But it's all rim. Cox on the rebound. That's a beautiful pass from Harris. Lawyer goes up, and that place roars. Even Braden Smith had to say, that's a nice one, mate. Up to Lawyer. Finishes it off with finesse as you expect.
We are live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat free on Tuesdays. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. Purdue basketball season, presented by Purdue Global. Earn a degree you'll be proud of with Purdue Global, Purdue's online university for working adults, and the preferred online university degree provider of the Guild and Team USA Learning Network. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu. All right, Coach Brantley, I've been holding this one toward the end of the show because I haven't even asked you this, just, you know, in a personal conversation. Jakari Harris, as our fans know by now, the son of Glenn Robinson. Glenn, a close friend of yours, a teammate, a guy you knew in high school. You still remain very close with Glenn. The similarities, if any, that you see between Jakari and Glenn, and I'm talking Glenn at this age when he was a young college man.
There are definitely some similarities there, but you know, you're talking about two guys that were came up in different eras.
Yeah, sure.
In different environments as well. You know, Jakari is a guy that's had a great village, man. His basketball experience, man. His mom did an unbelievable job staying on him with his academics and just putting him in the right situation. Can lean on his dad for a lot of basketball things. But Glenn was a guy that came up in Gary, and he was so good at an early age. I heard a guy talk about Michael Jackson when he was young. said he was always the breadwinner for his family. You know, even as a young boy, 8, 9 years old, just imagine 8, 9, you got to be the breadwinner for your family.
Yeah.
And that's the type of talent that Glenn had. It was you know, was so tremendous. Like, you know, anybody that was around him knew he was going to be an NBA player.
Yeah.
But just thinking back to, you know, when Glenn and I were at Jakari's age, you know, he has his dad. He has his dad's face. It's like that poker face. They be great poker players. You don't know what's under those cards, you know. But the toughness, man, he's got his dad's toughness. He's got his dad's work ethic. So the apple definitely didn't fall far from the tree. He passed on some great traits to his son, and I can say, like, both of those guys wanted to be at Purdue. They both love Purdue, and Purdue is going to be blessed to have both of those guys.
Have you shared any Glenn Robinson stories with Jakari? The old, hey, you know, when your dad was your age, or not yet? Have you held back on those?
No, we a lot of times it's basketball questions.
Okay.
You know, we'll talk about some stuff, and of course, you know, when I was his age, and if somebody knew my dad, because I knew my dad wasn't going to give it to me, so I had to, you know, go elsewhere and get it. And so a lot of times it's a lot of basketball stuff, because he realizes, you know, how great of a player his dad was. But, you know, Jakari is different. He's a different position. I think he's got a different mentality. His dad loves, you know, his dad was a scorer. He just wanted to score that basketball. He was so dynamic.
Right.
But Glenn has a great appreciation for when basketball is played the right way. And so he realizes, like, man, his son likes to make the extra pass. His son has the potential to be a very good defender. No ego. He just wants to win. And I know, you know, his dad loves that about him. I love it as well.
Yeah.
You know, we all saw it when we were recruiting a young man, and you got to have guys like that in your locker room. You know, if you want to win some ball games.
Coach Brantley, nice job tonight. Thanks for giving me a few minutes.
Thank you,
Assistant
sir.
Coach Brandon Brantley. Still one segment to go. Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
6 Indiana leads here in set 1. And on the overpass, Lord in the Big Ten, Indiana trying to work on that. Avery Tatum near post, and Eva Hudson, the solo. Candela sends it over. Gary to Tatum, blocked! 2 points away from a set 1 victory. Anderson sends it over, Geddes digs it out. On the near post, Tatum blocked. Gary with a lunge, keeps it up. Tatum tries again, and Anderson keeps it in. Hudson with a running start as a dig from Hayworth goes a bit wild, and a free ball coming for Purdue. Hudson with authority goes to the, as Hornung will serve for Purdue, targets Vickers. Hayworth, Alonzo Corsellis, Indiana retains. Vickers again, blocked by Colvin. 21, then Purdue went on the 4-0 run. Hudson. 12-10, Indiana leads. Raven Colvin again.
Jacoin plays that one. Anderson to Colvin off the slide. Boilers keep it alive. And Raven Colvin.
That one right down.
Eva Hudson finishing off the Wolverines here in set number 2. The Boilers win 25-21. Taking control of set number 3. Let's see if the Boilers can adjust the defense. Ball hit over. Set for Hudson. Eva Hudson with the exclamation point on this Boilers 3-0 sweep. They win set number 3, 25-18.
Yeah, and a 4-0 scoring run to end that last set by Purdue.
7-6 Indiana leads here.
Live tonight, presented by GEMCO Constructors. Supporting your Boilermakers is the presenting sponsor of Purdue Basketball Live and proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors says, Boiler up. Rob Blackman here with our final segment of the show. Reminder, our next show is coming your way Monday, December the 2nd. Remember I gave you those numbers about Braden Smith a little bit ago? The game he just had last night, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals. First guy in Big Ten history in 20 years to put up those kind of numbers. Let me set the stage for you here for Braden Smith. Last year, just a few of the notables. Bob Cousy Award finalist, All Big Ten first team. Honorable mention, All-American. NCAA Tournament, All Midwest Region team. This year, preseason Big Ten Player of the Year. CBS Sports, second team All-American preseason. Fox Sports, preseason second team All-American. Cousy Award list. Naismith Award list. Sporting News, second team preseason All-American. I'm telling you all of these things about Braden Smith, who Coach Brandon Brantley said is probably the best point guard in all of the nation. You know the one award that Braden Smith has not won? He's never been named the Big Ten Player of the Week. Does that make sense to anyone listening to my voice? How is Braden Smith, can I hop on my soapbox here? How in the world has Braden Smith, in his first 2 years plus, never been named the Big Ten's Player of the Week? Now, he was the Freshman of the Week. 1 week, just one, when he was a freshman. He's never been the Big Ten Player of the Week. Are you kidding me? Who votes on this stuff? Oh, someone in the crowd said they were voting for Zach every time. Okay, that's fair. If indeed they were voting for Zach Edey every time, I'm going to let it slide. But if we go this entire season, Braden's junior season, and he's not at least once named the Big Ten Player of the Week, there's going to be hell to pay, I'll tell you right now. There will be that to pay for sure. A couple quick reminders, fans. Don't forget our next broadcast is Friday night. Purdue and the second-ranked team in the country, Alabama. How about number 2 versus number 13 at Mackey Arena, 7 o'clock on Friday. We will be live at 6 p.m. with our pregame show. And then, of course, Purdue will be right back at it against another top 15 team Tuesday night, Purdue at Marquette. That's a 9 p.m. tip-off on Tuesday, late night Tuesday, fans, in Milwaukee. For Wes Scott, our on-site engineer, for Hunter Stunkel, in-studio engineer, for Brandon Brantley, I'm Rob Blackman. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you Friday night at Mackey Arena.